Simo, how's the approach been heading into Port Adelaide, going in confident this week?
Oh yeah, we've obviously made less changes than we have in the last few weeks, so hopefully we get a bit more continuity and we can respond from last week's disappointing performance, in particular the first half. So 8-day breaks helped us. We got to train, and yeah, the captain's run this morning and we'll fly it this afternoon. So yeah, we're quite enthused and can't wait to get over there.
Message to Luke Stradanica as well. What role do you hope to see him play, and will he play quite a few minutes in his first match?
Yeah, well, he'll play ruck, obviously. I think he's our 11th debutant this year, which is great for the club. Yeah, he's done it the hard way. He's been on another list at another AFL club at Fremantle. He came in late pre-season for us, SSP. Hurt his plantar fascia, and then he's got back to form the last few weeks. So, yeah, really proud of what he's achieved in such a short period of time. He's been embraced by all the players, and now he's an Eagle for life. So, yeah, can't wait to see him play.
Just on Jack Darling's form as well, sort of averaging 1 goal a game. Last year, 2 goals a game. Is he playing his role for you, or what's your approach in getting him back to goal-kicking form?
I think it's... don't take this the wrong way. It's not just about kicking goals. That's a pretty simple way to look at it. But I think he's been out for 7 weeks and he's probably playing like it at the moment. And the way we move the ball and the supply he's had, the opportunities aren't the same. Albeit I think there's some parts of his game he needs to improve in, and he knows that. So we're working really hard on that. Collectively we're all down last week. So our goal is to give him a bit more supply and for him to stand up and play his role for the side as well. So, yep, I know those questions come, and we put ourselves out there for the criticism as well as the accolades. So, yep, he's a big boy. He'll work through it.
Just last one from me as well, just in regards to sort of you seeing your players and playing them back through the waffle. Has that been much of an option given the fact that you really haven't had too many people to select from? And as it goes on, will you sort of start to see a few more guys go back play through the waffle like Elliot Yeo?
Well, he did play waffle 2 weeks ago. So he played 70 minutes before he came in for AFL selection. So I get your point. I understand it. It's a little bit early in the day to be talking about putting these guys back through the waffle. They only come back for 1 week. Whilst collectively we're really disappointed, we've got to get these guys going, and putting them all back in the waffle to get them some form and synergy, it doesn't really work, because we need to connect with all 18 players on the field. And they're A-plus players, so we've got to get them going as quick as we can. It's not ideal. We really understand that. It's been a challenging time for us all. But to get them going, they've got to play. Got to play together. They've got to back them in. And there's a point where if their form's not up to it, we need to drop them. So we're aware of all that. It's around 6 this week. We get them together again for the 2nd week in a row. Some of those midfielders, I think Kelly, Yo and Shuey have played 11 games together, total. So it's been quite disruptive over the last few years, and our goal now in the next period of time is to get that synergy back, get the confidence back, get the run in their legs, and they perform. And if they don't do that in the coming weeks, then we've got to address it, and that doesn't exclude anyone on our side.
Cheers, thanks so much.
Simo, how long is Hugh Dixon expected to be out with that calf injury?
I think it's a small strain, so he couldn't really feel it on game day last week. So, but there's something small there. So I would have thought 1 to 2 max.
So Ollie Wines has obviously been put back in for Port after his issues there. Does that affect, obviously it's just one player, but obviously a Brownlow medalist, does he affect your plan going into the weekend in any way?
Not really. They're a pretty good side, Port. I know they're probably the best 0-5 side in the history of the competition. The way we look at it, they've had 2 or 3 games where they've lost under a goal. What they did in the second half last week without Ollie, he's just going to strengthen their midfield. So, yeah, I'm sure they're confident. I'm sure their back's against the wall. We're both in similar situations from a ladder point of view. So we're both desperate to win, and regardless of who plays, I think it's going to be on this week, that's for sure.
Adam, is Jeremy McGovern out of isolation now, and can you just explain that decision?
Well, he got out this morning, so we fly out this afternoon. So I just walked a few laps with him today. And, you know, he's been dealing with the health and safety protocol, so we haven't seen him really for a week. So, yeah, it's just a bit late in the week, and what we've learnt, it doesn't go away, the situation these guys are in. If anyone out there has gone through their family or, you know, their own personal circumstances with COVID, it's not a 1 week and you're done. And what we've collected over the last few weeks and how we've seen it affect our players, everyone's different. Not many come back on the 7th day and are right to go. So we've got to keep an eye on the players' health and well-being.
So you'd be hopeful for him for next week?
Absolutely, yeah. That's hopefully the plan. It's a 6-day break going to the Tigers next week on Friday, so we'll plan for that and we'll go from there.
Just on Luke Stranatica before, you mentioned he would ruck. Did you mean lead ruck or just backing up Bailey Williams in a sort of forward ruck role?
I'm not going to tell you that. You serious? No, he'll ruck. He'll ruck with Bailey, and however we split it up, you'll see both. See him in the forward line, you'll see him in the ruck. But yeah, that's his primary role at AFL level, is to ruck.
And just on Jack Darling specifically, was it a close call this week in terms of keeping him in the team or not? Or?
No, not at the moment. No, we've got to get everything right for our forwards to play their role. We had 29 inside 50s last week. So, albeit there were opportunities to go through our forwards to get an inside 50, and they didn't hold up their end as well. So, yeah, no, that didn't come into consideration this week. But, no one's, like I said earlier, once we get that synergy piece and, we're connected, then we can make a real judgment on their form. And Jack, in particular, like I said, he had 7 weeks away from the club, where it would have been really difficult to do anything in terms of football. So, yeah, I'm not surprised it's been a slower start, but we'd love him to get going sooner rather than later.
And just Josh Kennedy, how long can he keep pushing on for us in terms of his body? Is he going to need a break soon? Or?
I suspect so, yeah. He's done a terrific job being available for us while we're missing so many people. He's obviously on the back nine of his career, and he wants to play every game he can. So, but we understand, and Shannon's the same. They're not going to play every game this year. We need to manage them in a way that respects their body and gives some other younger players opportunity as well. But yeah, he's available this week and he'll play.
And what's the latest on a timeline with Oscar Allen?
Yeah, no strong timeline on that. We've been very conservative with the approach, and we want to get him right. So it's probably not in the short term. Short to mid term, I would have thought for Oscar at the moment.
And so if Josh needed a rest, is it Jake Waterman who would have to play tall? And are you confident he could do that?
Yeah, well, Jake's playing this week. The forward line depth, I suppose, sitting behind Allen, Kennedy and Darling is probably young Jack Williams and young Jamison. So, they both got exposed in the North game. Jack's 18, so he's a young pup. So, yeah, we can give those guys some exposure as the year goes on, but at the moment we think if we can get JK to play and Jack to get to some form and Aussie back, then, we'll have pretty good stocks down there.
You've had some pretty memorable wins over Port over there in your time. Do you sort of call on any of that or tell any old stories leading into the game?
Oh, no, not really. Every environment's different that you travel to. So when you play in Adelaide, obviously Adelaide Oval's a magnificent stadium. There's a big difference between Adelaide and Port Adelaide, the way their crowd and the way they set up the game. So we're familiar with that. I think it energises our players. It's been a pretty good environment for us, but that's not to say it's going to be like that this week. So we really look forward to the challenge of a team that, at their best is a premiership contender, and they're not far off in terms of personnel. So it's going to be a massive challenge, but I think we're up for it.
No worries, thanks.
Adam, Ben from AFL.com.au. a week on since the Sydney loss. Has there been any specific focus out of that game towards Saturday's game with a longer break? There's some learnings you can take to address on Saturday?
Yeah, very good side, Sydney, and we unfortunately we've been starting well all year. I think the resilience we've shown and not win has been something that we've really hung a hat on. That we want to win, we want to play to our best, and what we've dealt with, I think we've managed reasonably well. But on the weekend we were poor, and there's no excuses for that. So we had a good 8-day break, so we've had a chance to train and connect back to what's important on field. So we've been working really hard on the intangibles and trying to keep the club united and tight and strong, but that doesn't exclude from the fact we're here to win, and we want to play a brand that holds up. So yeah, we got taught a lesson, no doubt, in that, especially in the first half. So we're looking to respond in that sense, that's for sure.
You talked about selection earlier. It must be nice having 3 guys come in, Waterman, O'Neill and West, who probably come in on a bit of form. I think O'Neill was pretty unlucky to miss out last week and did really well in the waffle. Yeah,
well, that's right. And, this is probably the first week we've had to, really work hard at match committee about selection. So, I think I said this last week, I've probably omitted 3 players for the year due to the fact we've just been unavailable. And we don't want to keep making 8 changes a week. So, we really have to stick with what we've got for a certain amount of time to see if we can get that connectivity and synergy going. So bringing those guys in should be good for us. They're healthy, young, fit players. And hopefully we can stick with a similar side for a few weeks, albeit form will dictate selection in the coming weeks.
And just on your midfield, I think you rotated 8 different guys through the middle plus the rucks last weekend with O'Neill and West coming in. How do you work that mix? Does someone like Yo go back a bit more, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, trying to identify the fact that we're introducing so many new players back into the side, trying to share the load has been a challenge. So, yeah, we'll continue to work on that, until we get that real clear synergy with our players. We think sharing the load is really important. So, West and O'Neill will definitely go through the midfield. Yo might go back for sure at certain stages. So there's a bit more flexibility with our side, with Nelson playing a lot of this season on the wing as well. He's traditionally played back. Duggan can go back and on ball as well. And then some of our forwards like Willie Rioli's been playing on ball a little bit as well. So yeah, the flexibility's probably been really pleasing for us, the fact that we can move the magnets a little bit. But we do like to get settled.
And just on Jack Petrocelli, will he play waffle this weekend? Is he back in the mix?
Yeah, he'll play waffle, and he's a great classic example. He misses a week through the COVID protocols. He actually missed 2. Just the timing of when he went into the isolation, and he comes out, a couple of days before a game. So we think the best thing for him is to play some waffle minutes. And like I said, the experience we went through 2 or 3 weeks ago probably tells us it's not a risk, but you're not going to get the best out of these boys if they come back straight away. So we don't want to set these guys up to fail. So Petch will come back, hopefully play some good waffle football, and then he'll be up for selection in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Adam.
Simo, how impressed have you been with Patrick Nation since he's come aboard this year?
Yeah, well, out of all this, we're hoping that, when we get through it, that we, obviously get some resilience, but we get some players that, really stepped up, and he's been great for us. He's not the finished product either. It's the first time he's played 5 games in a row or 4 games in a row. So he's got a lot of upside. Massive tank, got good skills. He gets the game. He's got a good footy brain, and he's still working his way with relationships and connection with our players. So, yeah, out of all this, if we can get 2 or 3 players like Nashi, we'll come back in as a better side, that's for sure.
Yeah, and how happy were you to get him on board when you saw he was available to take? Did you sort of move fairly quickly, knowing his quality?
Well, we identified him as an option for us, but we couldn't get him over because of the state laws. There was a stage where he couldn't come over. The borders were blocked. So as soon as they opened them up, we got him over. So he was at St Kilda's training pre-season at the time. So yeah, we identified him. We just couldn't get him to train with us for a while until the borders opened. So yeah, we were pretty lucky in the end.
Yeah, and you've got a great record over in Adelaide. Does that get spoken about this week at all?
Not really. No, we're looking at this game, in isolation. It's as much as it's been good for us. I think every game's different. Every season's different as well. So quite unique. Both clubs have been in a situation where their backs are against the wall, and Port are in probably a different phase than we are. But the latter suggests we're both desperate for a win this week. So I think it'll be another unique game this week.
Yeah, cool. That's it for me. Thank you.
Sorry, just one more from me, Adam. The dissent stuff we've heard a lot about this week. Do you have to address that with the group at all? Has it been discussed?
The what?
Dissent towards umpires.
Oh, no, I haven't really spoken about it with our players. I mean, it's probably not. Yeah, you call it dissent, I suppose, but the body language is important, isn't it? So I think the players have done a reasonably good job to change behaviours, and it's not going to get right overnight. So we'll work on it. Once we're really clear with the rules, and the players will adapt because they always do. But I think it's been an improvement since obviously pre-season, and yeah, I'm not too. Whatever they are, we'll follow the rules, and if it costs you a couple of 50s, then that's the quickest way to learn.
Adam, would you mind just expanding on Luke Stranatica a bit? Like, what were his attributes that caught your eye when you brought him into train, and then how have you sort of seen him over the last few months progress?
He was probably the best ruck in the waffle for us. We went into the pre-season with Nathan Vardy retiring, a ruck short. So we identified, due to even the border restrictions, that the guys that could train with us, we could probably had come from a local position. So when we saw him, we got him down, and he connected pretty much straight away. He's got good skill, really good young talent, an under-18s level. And, his career was cut a bit short at Fremantle, so we gave him an opportunity to try and improve himself, which he did. Like I said, he had a bit of a plantar fascia, but he was always earmarked to come in and play a role for us. And now that Nick's gone down for a while, it's an important acquisition. So hopefully, he can play his role this week, and he's a really good option for us for the rest of the year.
Simo, last one, from me as well. I'd like to comment about Port Adelaide being the best sort of 0-5 side that you've seen. Just what was your sense against Carlton? What did they change sort of at half time to get back in the game, and what is Port Adelaide at their best at the moment?
Well, they haven't changed. They obviously, their pressure on the ball, their contest method, their ability to keep the ball in the front half. So I thought, watching the game after half time, they elevated their pressure. They got a bit more ascendancy with the stoppages and clearances, and once they get in their front half, it's really hard to get it out. So some of our wins over the years against Port have been, a little bit like the Collingwood game. You concede 60 inside 50s, and you're quite efficient when you go forward. That's not the way we want to play, but that's how Port make you play sometimes. And that's what happened in the second half. I thought a lot of their scores were from front half turnovers, and they keep the ball away from your front half. So that's what they turned around, and that's what we need to stop this week.